Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha.
Wait a minute. Before all of this, before what you just started and then the rest, are there not some mantras that you're supposed to chant and to set up the yajna? And then Sri Brahma Samhita. He did already. Yes? What's that?
He said he's doing it right now.
Okay, just now. Okay. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Behind you. On the screen, there's Sri Brahma Samhita, and will we chant together? And I chant swiftly, so you keep the pace that I chant. Hare Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Chintamani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Briksha Laksha Vratesha Sarabhira Vipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambram Sevimanam Govindamadi Purusham Damaham Venum Kanvantam Aravinda Dalayataksham Bharhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Damaham Bhaja Ralo the Chandrakada Sadvanamalya Bhankshi Ratnangadam Pranayakenikan Vilasam Shamam Tribangalalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti Pashyanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmayasat Ujvala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitam Achyutamanadi Manantarupam Adyam Puranam Purusham Naviyovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhaktao Govindamadi Purusham Pantashtu Koti Sadavatsara Sambragamyo Vayoratapi Manaso Mani Pungavanam Sopyasti Yad Prapadasinya Vachincha Tatve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Eko Pyasaurachayatam Jagadandakotim Yachchaktirasti Jagadanda Chayayadantaha Andantarasta Paramanuchayantarastam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yad Bhava Bhava Chariyomana Taiva Samprapya Ruha Mamaya Manyamusha Suktairyameva Nigama Pratatais Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Sarvatamakram Vitabis Tabirya Eva Nijarupataya Kalabhihi Goloka Eva Nivisatya Kilatma Bhoto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Chodita Bhakti Vilochanenam Santaksadaiva Hrideshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaramachinchukarasarupam Govindamadi Purusham Ramadi Murtushakalani Amena Tishtan Nana Vatarmakavro Bhuvaneshu Kinto Krishnak Swayam Samabhavak Paramak Pamanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Koti Kotish Vashesha Vasudari Vibhuta Bindam Tad Brahma Niskalam Anantamashesha Bhotam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Maya Hiyasya Jagadanda Shatani Sute Traigunya Tad Vasharya Veda Vitayamana Sattva Valambi Parasattvam Vishuddha Sattvam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Zarmasanghamanaso Yat Praninam Paniparam Smarotamapetia Leela Yatena Bhuvanani Jagat Yajasram Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Goloka namni nijadamni talecha tasya Devi maheshu haridama suteshu teshu te prabhava nijayavi tasyayena Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Shristi stiti pralaya sadhana shakti reka Chayeva yasya bhuvanani vibharati durga Ischanarupam apayasya tatesta tesa Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Kshiram yatadadhi vikaram vishesha yogat Sanchayate vrita hetuho Yakshambhutam apitata samupaiti karyad Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Deeparcha eva hirsham tanam abhyupetya Deepayate vrita hetu samana dharma Yastadrak eva hitya vishnu taya vivati Govindamadi purusham Yatkaranarnabhajale bhajatisma yoga Nidramananta jagadanda saromakopaha Adara sakti mavalamya param samurtim Govindamadi purusham Yes. Vishnur Mahanshi Yasya Kalabhishesho Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Vaspanyatangshma Sakaleshu Nujesha Tejaha Sviyam Kayad Prakadiyat Vidad Vadatra Brahmaya Esha Jagadanda Vedana Karta Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yatpala Pallava Yugam Vinidhaya Kumbha Dvandve Pranama Samayesa Ganadi Rajaha Vinhan Rantam Ala Asya Jagatayasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Agni Mahid Ambamarodashascha Kalastatatma Manasita Jagatayani Yasma Bhavanti Vibhavanti Vishanti Yangcha Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yatshaksha Esa Savita Sakala Grahanam Raja Samastra Suramurti Rasesha Teja Yasyagya Yabramiti Kampratakala Chakro Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Dharma Tapapa Nichaya Shrutayasta Pangsi Brahmadi Kita Padagada Vadayasta Jivaha Yadat Prakatap Prabhava Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajam Yastvindra Gopa Matavendra Mahosra Karma Bandhanurupa Padabhajanamathanoti Karmadi Nirdahita Kintucha Bhakti Bhajam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yam Kroda Kama Sahaja Pranayadibiti Vatsalya Mohar Gura Gaurava Sevya Bhavai Sanchintya Tasha Sadashim Tanam Aparete Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Shriya Kanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpa Taravo Drama Bhumis Chintamani Ganamaitoyam Amritam Kata Ganam Natyam Ganamam Api Bangshi Priyasaki Chidanandam Jyoti Param Apistad Asvajam Apicha Sayatra Sharadhi Shavati Surabhibhyasya Sumahan Niveshad Yakyo Vavrajati Natviya Trapi Samaya Bhaje Shweta Dvipam Tamaham Eha Golokam Nityam Vidantaste Shantashati Virala Sharakati Paye Ishara Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Beautiful prayers and sound vibration as well. One of the main reasons for reciting these prayers is purification of the atmosphere, because such sound vibrations have that effect. The mantras themselves are composed by Lord Brahma. They're found within Sri Brahma Samhita, describing
the stages of construction of the universe, but before the construction of the universe, he, Lord Brahma, received mantra, 2 mantras, and by the recitation of those 2 mantras, according to Sri Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma became well acquainted with the ocean of truth. It's a nice phrase. Well acquainted with the ocean of truth from chanting of mantra. Meaning that truth is eternally situated and all-pervasive, etc. And the mantra or mantras that he chanted enabled him to clear the coverings and awaken recollection of his service of constructing a universe, and then he glorified the personality of Godhead with these prayers. So the range of topics, it's vast. What Srila Prabhupada writes in his commentaries about these prayers, he lists the topics that are covered in the prayers, and it's like, it's Srimad Bhagavatam in a nutshell. It's in little cryptic statements glorifying the personality of Godhead and that which has come from the personality of Godhead, which is literally everything, before building a universe. So he has this full stage of realization, and similarly, because the process is receiving of Gayatri Mantra, therefore it's appropriate, because he chanted these 2 Gayatri Mantras that are within the same Gayatri Mantras that we receive in the line of Lord Chaitanya, which is in the line of Lord Brahma. So we can become well acquainted with the ocean of truth too. In fact, that's one of the main functions of Brahmana. A little explanation is that the purpose of Gayatri Mantra is further purification in addition to the fundamental primary purification that comes from chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and being initiated into the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because anyone can receive, and through purification and exhibiting the qualities and character of a Vaishnava, particularly our 4 regular principles, and consistently chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one is eligible, one may be eligible for first initiation. And Srila Prabhupada has written in a number of occasions and spoken similarly that that's sufficient. That is the purification that comes from reawakening knowledge of who we are. That is, removing the forgetfulness of who we are and reawakening the remembrance of who we are. You know, like chapter 2 Bhagavad Gita. We're not the body, and then if we're not the body, then who are we? And Jiver Swarupai Nityar Krishna Das. We're eternally servants of Krishna, and formally introduced to that mantra by Diksha, Harinam Diksha. It's sufficient. And then comes the question, if that's sufficient, then what more do you need? And then the answer is, there are 2 main functions that Brahmanas are to do. One is worship, so specifically deity worship, but also this performance of yajna, because that's also worship. Although the deity is on my right, or on the altar, and then over here is the fire, and the fire is also a procedure of making offerings unto the fire representing Vishnu. The offerings, when the procedure goes forward, And swaha, with mantras, swaha, is offering to the fire, but the fire is the tongue of Vishnu, and thus is offering to Vishnu. So the performance of sacrifice, deity worship, and fire yajna. And second function of a brahmana is speaking the scripture, representing by behavior and representing by sound what's found in the scripture. So that means one has to know what's in the scripture. And also one has to have behavior that's in accord or aligned with what's in the scripture. One walks one's talk, as they say in modern language. What you say is what you do is what you say, and there's no discrepancy. So that's the second function of Brahmana. Brahmana is a go-to person for people in general when you want to know ABC, and you're not sure, is it ABC or XYZ, you go to a Brahmana, a qualified Brahmana, and the qualified Brahmana is meant in society, in human society, to give direction and guidance according to the scripture. So that means a Brahmana has to know the scripture, and then speak the scripture, and live by the scripture, and exemplify it. So those are high qualifications. And those are those two areas. We would say just simple language, worship and speech. And giving, through that speech, giving direction to the rest of society, just like the speaking part of the body is the head. And if the head's missing or is in disorder, then the rest of the body is also confused, to say the least. A headless body is crazy, dangerous. So to give direction. And it's not always easy to give direction because people may not want direction. But that's a function that a Brahmana is to be prepared to perform. And with some discernment, some discretion, when not to, how refinement of the appropriate message for a given person or audience or audiences. So those are Brahminical functions. Back to the earlier statement, first initiation is sufficient in one sense. Sufficient in the sense that awakening to one's own spiritual identity, not just notional, but awakening to one's spiritual identity and living one's life according. That means a Vaishnava. Because what is a living entity? Again, Jiver Swarpaya Nityara Krishna Das. We're eternally the servant of Krishna. And one who has understood that and lives their life that way, they're an eligible candidate for first initiation. And then further functions that come from further training, further qualification. And mantra is not just a brand or a label or a convention. That mantras are powerful. And rather than go through the mantras that the followers of Lord Chaitanya receive and chant thrice daily, they're powerful mantras. And according to Hari Bhakti Vilas, mantras are to be meditated upon as one is chanting the mantra, the meaning, and thus receiving the full force of the mantra. So, in conclusion, it's a very special event in the trajectory of one's spiritual progress is to receive and then perform accordingly, to live one's life according to what one receives. So some evaluation, some prior qualification, etc., etc., etc. And these two areas of service, speaking the message and worshiping the deity form and other activities that are in the category of worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's a more mature stage of a Vaishnava. So I'm, thank all of you that came, and our priest for presiding over this yajna. And there are mantras that I'll chant, and then you can say responsively. This is our Mangala Charana. Yesterday evening we heard the word Mangala. We've heard the word Mangala before. Mangala means auspicious. So Mangala Charana, mantras that they invoke auspiciousness. They are auspicious and they invoke auspiciousness just to hear them. And you begin, and then I'll proceed following what you do. Pranam mantra.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Ramapada Swaminiti Namine.
Then Swaha.
Swaha.
Do you know what to do with your grains? Please, our two initiates, do the needful. And I'll chant the rest of the mantras, if that's all right. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Swaha 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 Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Saha 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 Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Anbitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitangscha Swaha 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 Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Swaha, 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 Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shivarshabhanavi Devi Dayataya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhuryo Jvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaknida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vighaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine
मूर्ते गुणकारिणे
रूपानुगा विरुद्धा
रूपानुगविरुद्धाप
अपसिद्धांत ध्वांत हरिणे
अपसिद्धांत ध्वांत
स्वाहा 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 नमो गौरकिशोराय
नमो गौरकिशोराय
साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये
साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये
विप्रलम्बरसाम्बोधे
विप्रलम्बरसम्बोधे
पदाम्बुजायते नमः
पदाम्बुजायते नमः
स्वाहा 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 नमो भक्तिविनोदाय
नमो भक्तिविनोदाय
सच्चित् आनन्दनामिने
सच्चिदानन्दनामिने
गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय
गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय
रूपानुगवरायते
रूपानुगवरायते
स्वाहा 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 गौराविर्भावभूमिस्त्वं
गौराविर्भावभूमिस्त्वं
निर्दिष्टा सजनप्रियः
निर्दिष्टं सजनप्रियः
वैष्णव सार्वभौम
वैष्णव सार्वभौम
श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः
जगन्नाथाय ते नमः
स्वाहा 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 वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च
कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः
स्वाहा स्वाहा नमो महावदान्याय
नमो महावदन्याय
कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते
कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते
कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य
कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य
नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः
नाम्ने गौरतिषे नमः
स्वाहा 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 पंचतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं
पंचरत्नात्मकं कृष्ण
भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं
भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं
भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं
भक्तावतारं भक्तक्षं
नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं
नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं
स्वाहा 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 हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो
हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु
दीनबन्धो जगत्पते
दीनबन्धो जगत्पते
गोपेश गोपिका कान्त
गोपेश गोपिका कान्त
राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते
राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते
स्वाहा 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 जायतं सुरतो भङ्गोर
जयतं सुरतो
मम
पंगर
मन्दामतेर्गति
मम मन्दारमतिर्गति
मत्सर्वस्वपदाम्भोज
मत्सर्वस्वपदाम्भोज
राधा मदनमोहनो
राधा मदन मोहन
स्वाहा 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 दिव्याद्वृन्दारण्य
द्रिव्यावृन्दारण्य
कल्पद्रुमादः
कल्पद्रुमादः
श्रीमद् रत्नाकरम्
श्रीमद्रत्नाकर
सिंहासनस्थो
सिंहासनस्थो
श्रीमद् राधा
श्रीमद्राधा
शील गोविन्ददेवो
शीलगोविन्ददेवो
प्रेष्ठादिभिः
प्रेष्ठालिभिः
सेव्यमानो स्मरामि
सेव्यमानो स्मरामि
स्वाहा 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 श्रीमान् रासरसारम्भि
श्रीमान् रासरसारम्भे
वंशीवत ततस्थितः
वंशीवतो तटस्थितः
कर्षन् वेणुसुनायर् गोपीर्
कर्षण वेणु सुनिर्गोपी
गोपीनाथ श्रियेस्तु नः
गोपीनाथ श्रियेस्तु
स्वाहा 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 तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी
तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी
राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी
राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी
वृषभानुसुते देवी
वृषभानुसुते देवी
प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये
प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये
स्वाहा 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 जय श्री Krishna Chaitanya,
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya,
Prabhu Nityananda,
Nityananda,
Shri Advaita Gadadhar,
Advaita Gadadhar,
Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda,
Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta
Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. Final mantra. Got a nice name. Purnahoti. With your banana. Stand. And gently, when the mantra is over, place your fire in the banana. A banana in the fire, excuse me.
उसको रखिए नीचे.
Namo Brahmanya Devaya.
Om Brahmana Devaya.
Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha.
Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha.
Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya.
Krishnaya.
Govindaya Namo Namaha. Swaha. 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 What happened to the banana, please? Banana. I mean, you had a different procedure here, but my procedure is banana. Each of you have a banana. 2 bananas. And now we'll do the swaha again. Swaha. 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 Kirtan, and circumambulate the fire 3 times. Move the chair and all those things. Please.
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nita Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Nita Sachinandana Gaura Hari. Jaya Nita Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Nita Sachinandana Gaura Hari. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
That's what I said. I'm fine with her.
Doesn't matter. Just sing something in my
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Nandana Nitai Sachinandana Gaura Hari Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Jai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bol
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, just a simple housekeeping. If all the devotees can move forward, please, so that when others come, inevitably later, that it doesn't create disturbance during class. If anybody's here for the first time and doesn't feel comfortable sitting on the floor, we do have chairs and the benches, so please take advantage of that. So welcome. We just completed process of initiation, and now Maharaj will be speaking something from our scriptures, our shastras. Very profound message that will be discussed. I encourage everyone to pay deep attention to this discussion that will occur, or presentation. So first of all, I think most of you have met Maharaj during the Japa retreat, but just for those of you that are here for the first time, His Holiness Ramapad Swami Maharaj is an initiated disciple of His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, our founder Acharya. He's been practicing the path of bhakti for over 55 years, consistently with determination and steadiness that is awe-inspiring. And then Maharaj has been instructing devotees from around the world in the process of bhakti and gently taking them on that path. So without further ado, I don't want to take too much time so that Maharaj can speak today. So let's welcome Maharaj with a loud Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhotale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This gesture of raising the hands like that came from our Japa retreat. Of course, it existed before then, but during this past weekend and number of days, the holiday, we were discussing different topics in relation to the chanting of the holy name, and there was an image that I liked a lot, so we showed it several times, of a nice devotee, generic devotee, facing Krishna. It's a line drawing, but kind of a nice background look. And he's seeing Krishna and he's raising his arms, just in exaltation. Basically, the message that we were sharing was, Krishna, please accept me. Now, a father will accept a son. Supposing a son has gone cuckoo and went away and I don't care, rebellious little boy, and ran away. And after some time, the father doesn't forget the son ostensibly forgets the father and tries to go enjoy separately. And at a certain point in time, if that son, that boy, grows up and I was hoping to find happiness, but guess what? I found the opposite. And no matter how I tried this and tried that, it was not sukha, it was dukkha. It was very distressful. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam, according to Bhagavad Gita. And even that little pinch of buzz that looked like happiness is temporary. The whole situation is temporary. I want to do a U-turn. And I want to go
back to Krishna, back to my father. So the devotee is raising their arm, saying, I was foolish, and so forth and so on. Please accept me, with joy in his heart. And Krishna is certainly going to accept such a gesture. So that's what that is when we chant Hare Krishna mantra. In the illustration on the right side of the screen here, that's meant to depict Jiva Goswami. And especially for our newer people, who is Jiva Goswami? That's a little introduction to him, and then his writings. He, Jiva Goswami, is one of 6 principal persons who were sent to Vrindavan by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 2 main purposes: to restore the lost places of Krishna's pastimes, because at that time they were lost. The pastimes were to some degree known because they're within Scripture, but where did this pastime and where did that pastime occur were lost. When Lord Chaitanya personally visited Vrindavan, it's described in the biography of his life, he identified where was Radhakund. And when you read that section of Chaitanya Charitamrita, at that time, 500 years ago, 500 plus years ago, it was just an agricultural field that had a pond in the middle of the agricultural field. And he went and took his bath in the pond in the middle of the agricultural field and declared, "This is Radhakund." So later, the 6 Goswamis, they restored Radhakund to what it looks like today, or at least, in that direction. Now it's built up like so many people. It's not just agricultural field anymore. It's packed with sadhus that reside by the side of Radhakund and Shamakund. And then there's all the other places and all the other places. And they were given, the Goswamis were given the assignment to identify where those places were and restore them. So that was one service. The second service was, according to the teachings that they heard from Lord Chaitanya directly, and from their study of the Scripture, the combination of those two, to write books on Krishna Bhakti. And all 6 of them did this, but especially prolific was the youngest amongst the 6. Jiva Goswami wrote 400,000 verses in Sanskrit. Now, what does 400,000 verses mean? Let me help you understand what that means. How many verses are there in Ramayana? 24,000. How many verses are there in Bhagavad Gita? 800. How many verses are there in Mahabharata? 100,000. So it's like he wrote 3 Mahabharats, 5 or 6 Ramayanas, 7 or 8 Bhagavad Gitas, and a bunch of small books. And his writing most of his writing was very high philosophy. Because Ramayana and Mahabharata have many stories, which is different than intense, rigorous philosophy. But Jiva Goswami was both. Primarily, the subsequent acharyas point to him and saying what it says on the screen. Historically, the greatest philosopher, and there's never been one like him, and there never will be one like him. And if you read his writings, you'll understand why they made such a statement or why it's on the screen. Because he was an amazing personality. Without doing a whole biography of Jiva Goswami, we're going to move on to his principal contribution, he made 4 commentaries on Srimad Bhagavatam. And one of those 4 was topic by topic, in 6 categories of topics. And one of those 6 categories of topics was bhakti. And the style or the form of that commentary was a sandarbha, without all the details of what makes up a sandarbha. One of the 6 sandarbhas was Bhakti Sandarbha. And you can see it has a lot of verses in it. And we're just going to be covering 3 verses, 142, 143, 144. That's this evening. This little passage from Bhakti Sandarbha, and the essence of that little collection of 3 verses is how Bhakti Sakti has an effect upon the source of bhakti. Now what does that mean? What does that mean is, according to the Vedanta Sutra, according to the essence of all the Vedas is summarized in sutra form. Sutra means little codes. And one of those little codes says, the absolute truth is that from which everything comes. Janmadhyasya yataha. That's the sutra. What does that mean? The absolute truth is that from which everything comes. That's what it means. So Krishna is that absolute truth. And from him comes everything. Him, his personal expansions, and his energies, called Shaktis. So one of those Shaktis that come from him is Bhakti Sakti. Bhakti Sakti comes from him. He's the source of Bhakti Sakti. And what is the effect of that Bhakti Sakti upon him, the source? That's the topic in these 3 verses. Clear? So I'm going to start with the number 144, because this is a very simple definition. Bhagavan, Krishna, is the sole cause of bhakti. That's like the way that the system of Anucheds is, he makes a declaratory statement, and then he makes references from scripture from which that declaratory statement is made, or the basis and foundation of it, from scripture. So I haven't included all of that because it would be too lengthy and too academic, but bhakti descends into a living being by the grace of Bhagavan. So he, the source of everything, expands some Shakti, some potency, and that Bhakti Shakti potency descends upon the jiva from the source, from Bhagavan, by the grace of Bhagavan. Now, that's for those of you that have been around for a while. For those of you that haven't been around for a while, you can just have fun and listen to what I'm going to say. But what I'm about to say is for those that have been around for a while. According to Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a text that Lord Chaitanya's teachings and his pastimes on our altar as Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. So the life and teachings of Lord Chaitanya is Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then one of those teachings is Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunoi Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karaye Udoy. If you don't speak Bengali, here's what that means. Krishna Prema, Nitya Siddha, eternal perfection. Nitya Siddha, Nitya Siddha, Nitya Siddha, Krishna Prema. Love for Krishna is situated in the heart of every living entity. Every living entity isn't just every human. It's
It's every living entity. So what's a living entity? Anything that's alive, that's a living entity. So let's say, a bug, or a tree, or a bird, or anything that's alive. There's a soul inside. And that's animating the bug, or the tree, or the bird, or anything that's alive. It's the soul. And within that soul, Nitya Siddha, Krishna Prema. Krishna Prema is, so listen carefully, Krishna Prema is already within. You don't have to go somewhere and find some Krishna Prema on the shelf in Walmart or something like that. It's already there. It's already inside. Sadhya Kabunoi, and one by Sadhya means perfection. The stage of perfection is Krishna Prema, and it's already there. But, problema. What's that? We forgot. And what is it that covered remembrance of what we forgot? Ignorance. Very simple. You turn your way from the sun. Turn your face away from the sun. What do you see? Shadow. What's shadow? It's the absence of the sun. You see shadow. So we're in the shadowy realm called the illusory existence, where we see what isn't as what is. We see the shadow as reality. And the reality doesn't exist, or it's fiction, or it's what we've forgotten. And spiritual life is the process of two things: removing the ignorance with knowledge, because light dispels darkness. And then when the darkness is dispelled, then you have light again. You remember what you forgot. And it's already there. Clear? This is a building block. And it plays directly into what's on the screen up here. So how does that removal of the ignorance take place? Light or knowledge is intrinsic within bhakti. Bhakti is loving devotion to the Supreme, but there has to be a light that removes the forgetfulness or the darkness of ignorance. And that's bhakti. And Bhagavan bestows that bhakti. He's the Bhagavan, the source of everything, is the source of bhakti. We'll build. I'm like Jiva Goswami is like a lawyer building a case. But the source is the scripture. That's the law book. Bhagavan's grace, in the form of bestowing bhakti upon a jiva, is very special, because bhakti attracts and pleases even Bhagavan himself, although he is eternally complete in and of himself. And there's a nice Sanskrit phrase, that Atma Rama. Rama means pleasure. Atma Rama, pleasure within the Atma. He, Bhagavan, is the Atma Rama. He doesn't need pleasure from somewhere else. He's complete within himself. We need we want pleasure. So we go here and look there, and gather stuff and try to get that stuff to bring some pleasure. Bhagavan doesn't need to do that. Why? Because he is Atmarama. He is fully self-satisfied. There isn't something he needs outside of himself to be fully self-satisfied. He's already fully self-satisfied eternally. And that eternal Bhagavan bestows bhakti upon living entities. Not everybody, but it's special. He gives bhakti in a very special way. It's special because, so this is what this whole discussion is about, this whole section of Bhakti Sandarbha. Because it enhances and amplifies his own completeness, or the sense of happiness in his completeness. He who is, so you'll say it several times, he's already complete, he doesn't need anything. And he extends his bhakti potency, Bhakti Sakti, to some jivas over there. And when those jivas over there become touched by that Bhakti Sakti, they feel happiness. And in that happiness, they want to reciprocate with gratitude and love. And when they come forward with gratitude and love and reciprocate with the source of bhakti, his happiness increases. He who is already without limit, his happiness increases. It's a mystery. I hope you get the mystery. Sherlock Holmes, right? It's a good mystery. It's a good mystery. How does... So, that's the conclusion of this little section. Now we're going back to the beginning, 142. Here comes the closing the curtain. Shri Shri Nitai Sachi Sutta Ki Jai. So remember the title, the topic for this evening is, what's the effect of bhakti upon the bestower of bhakti, or the source of bhakti? Bhakti bestows bliss even to Bhagavan himself, who is the bestower of bhakti. He's the source. And further, his bliss is furthered by the bhakti that's within us, or any living entity that he gave it to, and then that any living entity that comes back to him and says, Haribol, or I want to do something, please accept me, please engage me in your service, please identify something that will make you happy, let me do that please. Give me the ability, the strength, the courage, everything. And that further enhances the unlimited, supremely happy Supreme Person. Bhagavan, this is now basically cut and paste from Jiva Goswami's commentary. Bhagavan is intrinsically self-endowed. Intrinsically means it's already within him, he doesn't need to cut and paste and glue something on him. It's already there, intrinsic. Self-endowed, same message. Bhagavan is intrinsically self-endowed with Hladini. What's Hladini? It's the name of a potency of Krishna, Hladini Shakti. The delight-giving potency. Literally, that's the meaning of... So we know, many of us know, Radharani is Hladini Shakti. Hladini Shakti is Radharani. So Krishna and Radha is like the sun and the sunshine, the energetic and the energy. Radha, Krishna, they're inseparable. Is there energy without energetic, or energetic without energy? No. They're inseparable. The sun and the sunshine. Is there such a thing as sunshine without a sun? No. Is there such a thing as a sun without sunshine? No. They're inseparable. Sun and sunshine, they're inseparable. Or fire has intrinsic heat and light. You won't find heat somewhere or fire somewhere, or light somewhere without a fire. So like, here's a light bulb. Electricity. What's electricity? Fire. It doesn't look like fire, it looks like a light bulb. But where does electricity come from? It's a transformation of the heat and light without all the detail of the stages of transformation.
That's what that's what an electron is. Many electrons makes electricity. What's an electron? A little fragment of light from the sun. That's the source. And then what's the source of the sun? The source of everything is the source of the sun, including the sun. So the light in the room is a transformation, it has its origin. Go back and back and back, and the cause of that cause there's an effect, and that effect has a prior cause, and Krishna is the original cause. And so one of the intrinsic characteristics of Bhagavan is happiness. The potency that gives him happiness is the Hladini potency, or Hladini Shakti. And she has a name, Radharani. Radha. Krishna. The pleasure potency of Krishna. So it's not glue her to him and then you got Radha Krishna. She's like the sun and the sunshine. They're intrinsically connected. So Krishna includes this Hladini Shakti. And this Hladini Shakti is an aspect of his own potency, or Sva Rupa Shakti. Sva means his own, and Rupa means form. Rupa means form. Sva Rupa means his own form, and his potency of his form. So Krishna's there, and aspect of his Swarup Shakti, his form, is the pleasure potency, Hladini. And she's very important to him. She's an essential part of him. She's never separated from him, and he's never separated from her. There may be pastimes where there's pastime of separation. Krishna leaves Vrindavan and he goes to Mathura, and there's a pastime of separation, but it's a pastime because there's no separation. It's a pastime. There's no such thing. Just like, the sun may go behind a cloud. Does that mean, or it's nighttime, you can't see the sun at all. Does that mean the sun went out of existence? No way. There's something impeding our vision of the sun, a cloud, or the darkness of night. But the sun is there in the sky. They're not separate. Or so there may be a pastime where Radha and Krishna seem to be separate, but they're not separate. Eternally they're connected. Eternally, existentially, intrinsically connected. It is this Hladini Shakti that conveys bliss to him. Him means Bhagavan. And to others, that means us, or his associates in Vrindavan, or anyone. Just as light emanates from a luminous object, illuminating both itself and other objects. So what does that mean? So I like graphics. There's a lamp. And a lamp is luminous. And a lamp lights up the room. At least to some extent, the light expands. Some years ago, I heard a phrase that Prabhupada said several times in a series of lectures, and I was puzzled by it. It sounded cool. The jiva is both conscious and possesses consciousness. And I thought, cool, what does it mean? So I pondered, didn't get an answer. And then I read something from the Upanishads that says what this says. A lamp lights up pots and plates. That was the phrase from the Upanishad. So the lamp is luminous and it lights up pots and plates in the room. Stuff. Similarly, the living entity is conscious, that's intrinsic, and consciousness expands. So like here we are sitting somewhere in this room.
And we can see our consciousness extends from the soul. We can hear the car passing over here. You know, it's faint, but consciousness is extending from the seat of consciousness. And similarly, the living entity is conscious, and Krishna is a supreme conscious entity. And part of that conscious entity is this Hladini Shakti. It's his existence, it's him. Part of his Swarup Shakti, his Hladini Shakti. Radharani is intrinsically part of him. And some of that Hladini Shakti is invested in living entities. We're still on 142, and there's only one more after this one, then we're done. Bhakti is itself the supreme functional capacity. If you like Sanskrit better, here's the Sanskrit. Parama vritti. Supreme functional capacity, vritti, functional capacity of this intrinsic potency. So what does functional capacity mean? Functional, the capacity to, like walking. That's a functional capacity. Supposing you're incapacitated, your functional capacity isn't going to manifest because you're incapacitated. Supposing somebody's paralyzed, they're not going to be able to walk. The walking propensity is there, but it's not manifesting. So, bhakti is the supreme functional capacity of this intrinsic potency. There's the word again, intrinsic potency. That's Hladini. So, message, Bhagavan, Krishna, the Supreme, invests bhakti in a living entity that already has Krishna Prema, but in the awakened state of Krishna Prema becomes gradually made possible through Bhagavan investing Hladini Shakti, or a particle of it, bhakti, in living entity. No, he does so through representatives, like a representative, as a devotee. A devotee that's carrying bhakti can meet you and say, whoop, excuse me for spilling some bhakti on you, but it's good for you. Because my bhakti vessel is very full and it just bumped into you, so sorry. But that's mercy, because you just got bhaktiized by one who was carrying bhakti. But the source is not that bhakti, it's the source. And Krishna invests that bhakti shakti on his bhaktas, his representatives. So here we are, a room full of bhaktas. Isn't that nice? That's nice. Because we all have a chance, an opportunity, little. We can say no, we can say yes, we can say, let me think about it. But the opportunity is provided just by coming together like we're doing right now. We have the opportunity to receive bhakti. The source of that bhakti is the source, Bhagavan, Krishna. But he may invest that in one of his devotees. You please give some. I've got a lot of bhakti to share with other people, so can you take some and then distribute it to others, please? Sure, I'll take some. And oh, sure, I'll distribute to others. So that's called the Hare Krishna movement. The source is Bhagavan. And he's investing potency of bhakti in some bhaktas. And ask them, please distribute it. Sure. And then we meet some devotee. And the devotee says, here, take some prasadam. Or take this book, or take the holy name, or please come to the temple, or, take bhakti. And you can say yes, no, or maybe. But if you say yes,
your spiritual life has begun. Your bhakti life has begun. And even if it's a qualified yes, even if you don't know exactly what you're saying yes to, it's okay. The more clear it is that what bhakti is and what you're receiving from the one who's carrying bhakti, the better. But even if it's just like, someone spills some bhakti nectar on you and you're like, oh boy. You're bhaktiized. A beginning has begun. Bhagavan remains eternally situated in his fullness while constantly transmitting this potency of bhakti to his devotees. Then, by contact with his own bliss-giving potency in the form of bhakti situated in his devotees, he experiences still greater delight. So the topic is what happens to the source of bhakti when they come in contact with bhakti. That was the topic, the headline. I hope it's clear. I'll say it again, in a few other ways, so it's at least in principle, the sound vibration is out there and you can, consider. He who is already full experiences greater happiness. Although Bhagavan is the embodiment of joy, sukha rupa, sukha means happiness, his pleasure increases in contact with the bhakti of his devotees. So, two nice examples. Sometimes pilgrims go to the Ganges and they take a vessel, and with the Ganges they're offering waters unto the Ganges. What does it mean to the Ganges to have water? It's already there. Sir, what are you doing? It's love. The Ganges doesn't need more Ganges. It's already there. But it's the love. And similarly, a standard practice for those who are sun worshippers, they offer a lamp to the sun. What's a lamp to the sun? The sun is the source of that heat and light, or the fire that's in the lamp. Say it, the lamp isn't going to be lit without the heat and light of the sun. Transformed into stages, etc., etc. But it's worship of the sun. It's a worship of the Ganges. And worship of Krishna is the same. Krishna is a source of bhakti, and with bhakti in the heart awakened now, because when received it and it becomes awakened, you offer, with bhakti, you offer whatever it is that you have. Supposing it's not so important, so it's very modest. Whatever that something that you offer. It offer your singing, offer your speaking, offer the fruits of your work. That's Bhagavad Gita verse. Yad karoshi, yad jahoshi, yad dadasi, yad. Yad tapasyasi konteya, tat karashtra mad arpanam. Mad arpanam. Worship me. With what? Whatever. Whatever you're worshiping him with, it came from him. So he doesn't need your little offering. Isn't it? Patram, pushpam, palam. He's asking Arjuna, asking us, could you give me a leaf? Come on. He's a source of leaves. There wouldn't be leaves without him. He's asking for a leaf. Or a fruit. Or a flower. So we offer flowers. That's nice. Where'd the flowers come from? From him, ultimately. Or toyam, water, something liquid. Offer with love and devotion, I'll accept. That's Bhagavad Gita. That's how it all begins. And what the offering is an expression of bhakti. The word bhakti come from Krishna. And when somebody offers something with love to the source of bhakti, his happiness increases. He is the sole cause of bhakti within the jiva, who then offers their light, or their words, or their whatever, the fruits of their work, or their heart, or me, please accept me, that's this one. Please engage me in your service. So this is a little, everybody likes controversy. For some reason, I don't know why, but people like controversy. So here's the controversy, or the apparent contradiction. He's already full. So how can his fullness expand? Because he's already full. Full means full. How his fullness can expand? Here's Jiva Goswami provides the answer. It's really nice, but you got to listen carefully. Bhagavan is supremely blissful by nature. This bliss is of two types. One, intrinsic. We already described that. It's ladini, the intrinsic bliss within him. To his essential being, Swarupananda, the happiness of himself. There's a second bliss. What's that? That which is transmitted through the potency stemming from his essential being. That is, from his essential being, he extends bhakti. So there's him and his fullness, and then there's this little bhakti particle, or little aspect of him that he invests in others. By virtue of the former, Bhagavan relishes the bliss of his own constitutional nature, Atmarama. By the latter, he first transmits his own bliss potency to his devotees, and then relishes that bliss present within them through loving reciprocation with them. Isn't it nice? I think it's nice. And if you can understand the message and what to speak of, one of the ways to understand the message is just do it, as they say these days. You know, offer something with love to Krishna and see what happens inside. Not just mechanical. The mechanical, that's okay. But offer something with love. And it can be inconsequential as a flower, or leaf, or some water. It's something. It's from him. And it's the consequence is minuscule in the big picture of the totality of things. It's minuscule. And we're minuscule. But you offer with love, and you experience something. And that something that you experience is a happiness. And that happiness, Krishna notices, and it increases his happiness to see your happiness. It's called love. Isn't it? The happiness of the beloved is my happiness. That's love. Do it again. The happiness of the object of love is my happiness. That's love. So bhakti is a process of love. And how does this circle begin? From the source of everything. He invests potency in the living entities so that they can experience desire to engage in some meaningful activity to offer to the source of everything. And his happiness increases by that. He who is already full spills over. More than full. So that's our topic. Thus, when Bhagavan conveys his bliss potency to his devotees, and they serve him out of love, he feels even greater bliss than when simply experiencing the bliss of his own being. I don't know how you feel about this, but I like the topic. So there we are again. Bhagavan's Hladini Shakti conveys bliss to him as well as to others. And guess what? There's one more. Anuchhed 143.
Although intrinsically Atma Rama, that's self-satisfied, Bhagavan's mercy in the matter of bhakti occurs in precise accord, keyword in big italic bold letters, yatarham, with the actual intent of the petitioner, corresponding to the intent of the petitioner, yatarham. This is so because when devotees worship Bhagavan, while praying that natural love for him will manifest in their hearts, it is imperative that in fulfilling their request, he, Bhagavan, bestows love upon them that is both ontologically real and in precise accord with the actual intent of their prayer. Like, he knows what they want. He knows what we want. And his nature is he reciprocates with what we want. Because, like, a parent and a child, unless the child wants to do something that's going to be hurtful for them, the parent may say no. But otherwise, with a smile, the parent will facilitate, as long as it's not harmful to them or others. That's part of the love between parent and a child. And then, of course, a parent will try to mold the desire of the child into something that's maximum beneficial for them and maximum beneficial for others, and as part of their training of their child. It's natural. They'll become happy, and the others around them will become happy, and there won't be social misfits or criminals or troublemakers, or they have to be happy, intrinsically happy. It is thus concluded that although Bhagavan is the personification of bliss, his exaltation reaches a crescendo through devotion. That's it. Now, I want to spend a little bit of time on the meaning of this word yatarham. Those of you who have been around for a while, those of you that haven't been around for a while, just smile, because I'm going to say something that you won't know what I'm talking about. But there, in Rupa Goswami's writings, he uses this word yatarham. Rupa Goswami was the spiritual master of Jiva Goswami. So Jiva Goswami is using the same term, yatarham, corresponding to yatarham. So Rupa Goswami's definition of renunciation. There's what renunciation isn't, there's what renunciation is. Good definitions have both. What something is, what something isn't. Inclusive and exclusive. So, in describing renunciation and what it is, anasaktasya vishayan yatarham, there's this yatarham, upayunjataha, nirbandha krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagya uchate, which means that which comes from Krishna you use in service to Krishna in a correspondingly appropriate way. Yatarham. Without attachment, anasaktasya. Asakti means attachment. Anasaktasya, without attachment. You do stuff without attachment to what? Sense enjoyment, vishaya. That's the translation. That's the meaning. Anasaktasya vishayan yatarham upayunjataha. Nirbandha krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagya. So renunciation is engaging things in Krishna's service in a way that's corresponding to and appropriate for pleasing him. This corresponds with that, so I offer a ghee lamp that's lit to. I offer some incense, the fragrance. The source of the fragrance is Krishna. I offer some fragrance to Krishna. I offer a flower to Krishna. I offer some water to Krishna. That's arti, worship. He's the source. He doesn't need those little things. What is it? It's an offering of love, corresponding to our capacity. That love. So by practicing, we can awaken love. By practice of, by sadhana bhakti, by sadhana, by practice, we can awaken loving propensity. Isn't that nice? Here comes the deities again. Go ahead. Now my watch says it's 12:30, and that's why the arti is about to begin at 12:30. And I think I'm allowed to go to 1 o'clock, yes? We'll go to 1 o'clock. So I want to give some examples of this. I want to give 3 nice examples. Here's one. There's a biography by Burijan Prabhu of his experience with Srila Prabhupada. He gave a title to the book. I've been reading the book, My Glorious Master. And he tells this story that explains yatarham, which means in precise accord with the actual intent of their prayer. So he, Burijan, was having this desire. He didn't say it, but he was having this desire. Here's the situation. The scene was, Prabhupada was in Mayapur, Burijan was visiting in Mayapur, and he was really enthusiastic. Like, he didn't say it, but in his heart was this strong enthusiasm, silent prayer. Oh, Prabhupada, please let me serve you. My desire to serve you has increased. Please let me be your servant. Please let my service to you increase. It's right in his book. That was bursting in his heart. And, you know, it wasn't easy to get to see Prabhupada, although he had intimately served Prabhupada a few times. In Mayapur, you know, it's a busy. There was like, there were people guarding Prabhupada's quarters. You couldn't just like walk in and say, Hari Bol, Prabhu, Hari Bol Maharaj, Hari Bol Prabhupada. Can I have a conversation? It wasn't like that. And one devotee was standing at the door named Brahmananda. It's right in the book, his biography. Brahmananda was like a big-bodied devotee. You don't walk past Brahmananda without getting your collared. You know, you don't do that. So he, Burijan, was just like waiting, praying, what you see on the screen. And from Prabhupada's quarters, came out of Prabhupada's quarters, was a devotee named Jagadish. Jagadish went to the same college that Burijan did, same college that I did. Jagadish and his wife Lakshmi Oni went to the same college, and you know, so coming out of Prabhupada's quarters was Jagadish. Hey, Jagadish. He didn't say what was on his mind, but Jagadish said, this may not be appropriate. I don't know what's on your mind to see Prabhupada about, but would you like to become the temple president in Hawaii? No, Honolulu? And Burijan just fell to his knees and started crying because he understood. The Supreme Bhagavan was reciprocating with his silent, unspoken desire. You better be careful what your desires are, Prabhus, because, you know, it just might happen. So make sure it's in alignment with what's going to be pleasing to Krishna. Because if it's not in alignment with what's pleasing to Krishna, it might be, you know, complicated. Your life might get complicated. Even you're thinking, oh, that would be nice if. Try your best to make sure that your desires are in alignment with what's pleasing to Krishna.
Here's another nice example. Some of you are a little bit familiar with Krishna book or 10th Canto Bhagavatam. Krishna book, Kalyanag. You know the story? You don't know the story? It's a homework assignment for you. With your friends or mom and dad or something. Kaliya, the serpent, yeah. And Krishna was in the coils of the Kaliya serpent for 1 muhurta, 48 minutes, and the residents of Vrindavan saw Krishna in this danger. Kali was known to be poisonous and nasty and mean. And he's in the coils of the Kaliya serpent, and they were crying, and Balaram stopped them. No. It's going to be okay. Meanwhile, he's in the coils of the Kaliya serpent for 1 muhurta. And just when it looked like desperation, Krishna decided, okay, enough of this. So what did Krishna do? He made himself bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And the coils of the Kaliya serpent expanded and expanded and expanded. Then Krishna made himself really small. Boop! Just popped out of the coils of the Kaliya serpent and started swimming around and swimming around and swimming around. And Kali got dizzy. So Krishna then took the opportunity, jumped on the hoods of the Kaliya serpent and started dancing and dancing and dancing on the hoods of the Kaliya serpent. You know the pastime. And what happened was the touch of Krishna's feet on the hoods of this poisonous, vicious, mean person, he became completely purified. Completely purified, to the point where he's so purified, he realized this is the personality of Godhead. And in his heart, his heads were smashed, but he surrendered. And then the wives, plural, of the Kaliya serpent came before Krishna. They were very clever. They had children. They put their children first so that Krishna would become soft. Because the children, you're soft around children. And then they offered prayers. And they offered prayers, suitable prayers. Essentially, the prayers were, our husband was bad and he deserves to be punished. We're sure that you'll punish him. But you are the abode of contrary qualities. You should also be merciful to him. They didn't just butter him up. They glorified him and glorified him and glorified him because he's glorifiable, Krishna. And then they made this prayer. But first preceded was their glorification. And then they're the punchline. Please be merciful. Punish, but also please be merciful. So Krishna smiled and he did both. And that's an example of alignment. Yatarham, Krishna reciprocated with their desire. They're his devotees. Read that section. They're very elevated personalities. These wives of the Kaliya serpent. Read their prayers. I don't know what school they went to, but they had a really good teacher. Really elevated prayers. Whew. And they offered those prayers. And then, in alignment, according to their desire, Krishna gave his mercy to the Kaliya serpent, who previously was bad, super bad. Or last, another very nice example. This is a nice painting of Rupa Goswami. So your newer people, let me remind you who Rupa Goswami is. He's one of the two principal Goswamis, Rupa and Sanatan. And Rupa was the spiritual master of Jiva Goswami, who we heard about from the Sandarbhas and etc. So he's like senior, Rupa Goswami. And here's Rupa Goswami writing his literature because find the places of pilgrimage, or places of pastimes of Krishna, and the second was, thank you, write books. So there he is, he's writing. Rupa Goswami is sitting underneath a kadamba tree writing Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, or Nectar Devotion. And as he was writing, he had this silent desire. Today is my brother's birthday. Sanatana Goswami was his elder brother. You know, younger brothers and older brothers. In Vedic culture, the younger brother shows special deference to his older brother. So he was just sitting there desiring, it would be really nice if I could make a nice offering to my brother on his birthday. He didn't say anything. He's writing Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So look, down the path comes this village girl. And to make the long story short because of time, is Radharani. And Radharani came and gave him ingredients for making sweet rice to offer to his brother, Sanatana Goswami. So Rupa Goswami was like, wow, how did you... And she said, oh, the elders, the elder cowherd ladies, they saw you sitting here, and they thought it would be nice to make a nice gift to you, so they sent me with this nice gift. You can do with it what you like. So he knew what he wanted. He wanted to make an offering of sweet rice for his brother on his birthday. So he made that offering of sweet rice, offered it to Krishna, because he's Rupa Goswami, he offered it to Krishna first. And then when he brought it to Sanatana Goswami, who was nearby at Pavan Sarovar, not far away from where Rupa Goswami was writing, he brought this pot of sweet rice for his brother. Happy birthday. And when Sanatana Goswami started tasting the sweet rice, his hairs were standing on end. He said, whoa, this is out of this world sweet rice. Where'd you get the ingredients? So Rupa Goswami told him the whole story. And Sanatana Goswami put 2 and 2 together and came up with 4. He said that wasn't just a village girl, that was Radharani. Because Krishna reciprocates with the love of his devotees, and because you want to serve a devotee, Krishna's reciprocated. And he sent Radharani to bring the ingredients. And now here I am, taking service from Radharani on my birthday? Abominable! What have you done? But the sweet rice is really good. Try some. Yatarham. The reciprocation is corresponding with the love of his devotee. So you better be careful what your desires are, right? Yatarham upayunjitaha nirbandha krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagya uchate. And this is our last slide. I like this one. This is from our japa retreat. And this is this is sankalpa. For those of you who don't know what that means, it's a meditation while chanting. And the little illustration is Krishna seated in a boat, and that little person behind Krishna, that's us, looking to Krishna as we're chanting. And on either side there's the ocean of material existence, and they're in a little boat. And Krishna is saying to you, be present and know, I am here with you. Commensurate to or corresponding to our desire is, as long as that's what you want, to be with Krishna. If you want to be with Krishna, chant Hare Krishna with that contemplation or sankalpa or meditation, the intention that let me be with Krishna again. I forgot Krishna. And I became miserable. I don't like that. Apart from Krishna happiness, there's no such thing. It's illusion. I want to be in Krishna's company, serving Krishna favorably. So be present while you're chanting, be present with the holy name, and know from Krishna, I am here with you. So back to, this is the first slide. This is our topic we just discussed, and if you have questions, now is the good time, because we have like 12 minutes. Bhakti Shakti's effect upon the source of bhakti. You want to contribute something? By the way, it's nice to see so many people coming here for the Sunday program. Thank you all for coming.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So Maharaj, I don't have a question, but I'm going to paraphrase and my own comprehension. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Here it says, I guess in 143, that Bhagwan, he transmits the potency to his devotees. And I'd like to think that the potency reaches all the jivas.
Yeah.
Just like sun rays fall either on a sewage tank, it breeds more insects, or it could be on a ground where seeds and plants are growing. So there is a reciprocity of the jiva also in this case.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Now, let me ask you, does the sun shine only certain places, or does the sun shine everywhere?
Everywhere.
Okay. So this bhakti extending from the source of all pleasure goes everywhere. And some people say no. Some people are hiding under a rock. They don't want to see the sun, so they want to be in darkness. They can say, they don't have to say yes. But some people say yes. So the idea for us is, yes, please.
And then furthermore, the recipients who are not devotees, they use that Ladini Shakti and use it in the material world to enjoy and other stuff.
Yes, that's right. They distort the Ladini Shakti. It becomes Maya.
Yeah.
The illusory energy instead of the spiritual energy.
And then the devotees, they transform that energy towards love for God, and it helps their intellect, the super soul within. Perhaps this is where I could be wrong, but the super soul, acts through the intelligence, and the mind purifies the mind and helps in self-realization.
That's when things are in proper order, but it's not always. Is it possible that things can be in proper order for a flash, and then the rest of the time is la la land? Back to the illusory way of seeing life and myself and stuff. Sure. But even that glimpse of reality is so contrastingly different. Once having experienced that, it's hard to forget it. And we can try to forget it, but it's hard to forget it. Let's see if there's some others that want to contribute. Come on, it's a room full of thoughtful people. You have something.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Can you elaborate on the bhakti is the sole cause, Bhagavan is the sole cause of bhakti, and Madhurya Kadambini's bhakti as self-manifesting, bhakti is the cause of itself.
Yeah. Starting point. There is a source of everything. Everything means everything. Matter, spirit, there's one source. So that's given. And And then how from that one source, different expansions or energies or potencies, etc., or himself. And that's the science of Krishna Bhakti, or the science of the Vedas. So then those energies interact with one another energy, and ultimately according to the happiness of Krishna, but living entities desire. And he reciprocates. He doesn't interfere with our desire. So there are different ways of seeing the same thing, and you can describe according to the lens that you're looking through what you see. And then another lens is over there, and it's a different lens, but it's seeing the same thing. So it describes it differently, so don't get confused by the different descriptions. What's the object that's being identified, and the lens through which it's being observed. So there's no contradictions, in other words. There are different perspectives, and different revelations or realizations that come from the source of everything to one who's observing the source. And the primary means of proper observation is through bhakti. Because there's improper and less than complete perspectives. Jnana and karma in yoga in particular, and subdivisions of those. So but one pure devotee, it happens that one Vaishnava Acharya describes in this way. Another Vaishnava Acharya describes the same thing in a different way. And it looks like, wait, if it's this, then it can't be that. If it's that, then it can't be this. It can be both. Or more than two. Multiple. So then that a commentary, and one has to get the big picture by hearing and reading and becoming conversant with. The goal is to understand Krishna more completely, the source of everything. Understand the source of everything more completely. So different pictures through using the term lens, an angle of vision to look at something. It's okay. Different ways. So I invite you to go back to the question you're asking and consider, is it simply just a different lens and therefore a different way of articulating the same thing? And that's what you'll find. How are we doing? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So in the explanation of Yatharham, the two examples which were given, they both were like direct reciprocation of whatever the desire of the individual was. Let's say we are not mature enough and we approach God or Bhagwan with certain desires, and the word is repeated a couple of times that the reciprocation is with the precise accord with the intent of the prayer. So does that mean that mercy, that I think not everything will be reciprocated as we desire. So it is only what is suitable for spiritual advancement is given and rest things are discarded, or is only limited to mature devotees or advanced devotees?
Supposing I'm not a mature devotee, supposing I'm an immature devotee, I'm like super neophyte. Supposing. Can something amazing happen? It's up to it's Krishna's discretion whether something insignificant, or like, let's say pure devotee, Prabhupada. He waited for a whole year when he came to America, and apparently nothing. So it wasn't an indication that he wasn't a pure devotee. And then when things started to happen, it was slow, but then kind of like an explosion. And there was the reciprocation, mega reciprocation. Because so Krishna, he was being examined by Krishna. Is this really what you want? I mean, it's really what Bhaktisiddhanta wanted, or etc., etc., but it's really what you want. So there's a relationship. Krishna may be examining you or me or any one of us. So it's not instantaneous, it's not a time sequence, but corresponding to. I'll just read it. It's on the screen. It is imperative that in fulfilling their request, that's the bhakta, he, Bhagavan, bestows love upon them that is both ontologically real and in precise accord with the actual intent of their prayer. Okay. I think it's a good time to end. And one more time to thank all of you for coming. Like I'm a little overwhelmed with such nice attendance here. And next time we have a japa retreat, all of you come for the japa retreat, because that was super special. And this little image was part of that. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming on our Sunday feast. This was a little, well, not a little, very special. It was conclusion to our japa retreat sessions that we've been having since Wednesday evening, with the profound message of this scripture. If you meditate on the observations made by Chief Goswami, as a practicing devotee, one's life can be transformed, will be transformed. So please contemplate, listen back to the YouTube recording of this lecture. It'll give so much clarity and insight into bhakti, the nature of the relationship with Bhagwan, how to engage in sadhana, japa, etc. Bhagwan's seeming favoritism towards some and dislike of others. It will really help. So please listen to this lecture again and again and again. Meditate on it. It's very profound what Sri Jiva Goswami is giving to us and the clarity with which Maharaj has presented such a complex topic when you think about it. To explain Bhagwan's identity and Sarup in such clear manner is a tremendous gift. So thank you very much, Maharaj, for sharing this beautiful section and for spending time with us. Maharaj kind of hinted at something about where he said next time there's a japa retreat, maybe all of you that are here can come. So let's see what pans out from this, but let's encourage Maharaj with a loud Hari Bol that we want to see japa retreat where Seattle devotees, Portland devotees, California devotees come together again and chant the pure holy name with great intention, with a loud Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So, Arti has occurred already. Prasadam is ready to be served at this point. It's 1 o'clock. And so I think for today we'll just hold off on more announcements, but want to thank all the devotees, the pujaris who did beautiful embellishment of the intrinsic beauty of Shri Shri Nitai Sachinandan, and for the hard work involved in that, and also the devotees who did non-stop cooking since Wednesday. So I want to appreciate their effort, and all of you who participated in cleaning, mopping, sweeping, saying thank you. That's encouragement too. Devotees need that. That's a culture. Vaishnava culture is a culture of respect and honor. So we should continue to extend appreciation. Okay? So I think devotees can go ahead and, I don't know whether a small group wants to continue kirtan, or whether everybody's going over for prasadam, but you can head over for prasadam at this time. Those of 2 batches. So I guess half of you. A good rule of thumb is the elderly and the young and Matajis go for prasadam first, and then the others stay while we have kirtan. Joshita, can you be, I think there are others who can accompany you. Is that okay? Okay, so half go. There's no point in all of you going because the fire marshal is not going to like the hallway blocked by devotees waiting for prasadam. Believe me, there's enough prasadam for everyone. So Krishna's lotus feet are big enough for everyone. So the rest of you stay. Please help out with cleaning, etc. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.